Do you even
All
have
right.
anything in that mug? Yeah.
No, because
You
it's
don't bullshit a
time.
bullshitter. You do not
It's
bullshit a bullshitter.
time.
Yeah, for what?
Overtime beer? What do you think?
Overtime beer.
Yay.
I was way too giddy to start that. I don't know if it was excitement or nerves because I had to give a score prediction and I didn't know what was going to happen. I was not. I'm sorry, I was off my game. I apologize to everyone for that.
What?
All right.
You're way
Well,
too giddy for what? For
I was
overtime
just
beer?
that no, the last episode I was way too giddy is what I was saying.
Oh. Well, yeah, the Packers won.
I guess. I don't know. I
What are you
just had
talking
so
about?
much to talk about.
What are
I
you
just
talking about?
had
You were too giddy. I came in with sunglasses. I put my hat to the side, and I was
yeah,
playing Bang on the Drum all day.
I don't think that was giddy. There's another word for that. Can't say it on here because it's a children's show. Let's take another deeper dive into the Packers because if you weren't sick of our rambling for the last 40 minutes, I alluded to it a little bit, but there were moments on Sunday before Lloyd got hurt that I'm like, man, we got like this three-headed monster in the backfield. And you bring in a healthy Jordan Love that maybe doesn't have to pass the ball 35, 40 times a game, and he can rely a little bit more on this running game. That is a very dangerous recipe for success. And I would be curious if what happened on Sunday not only opens up LaFleur's playbook against the Titans this upcoming week, but what does that look like in the future? How creative can he maybe go into a game and completely just pull the rug out from underneath and say, we're going to just we're going to run the ball down their throats. They're not even going to see it coming because Jordan Love just came off of a 400-yard passing game.
Hmm.
There's a lot of things to get excited about with that performance. Not just Jacobs, but Jayden Reed was able to have a run. Bo Melton had a run. The Manuel Wilson looked good, and before Lloyd got hurt, looked good. So I don't know. Did you catch any of that? Did you get any of that sense while you were watching the game about what the hell was going on with those running backs, or was it just,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah, for
they're
sure.
actually moving the ball and this is good?
Yeah, no, it was great to see that it didn't matter which running back was on the field. They were able to get some chunk yardage, which is exciting for when Jordan Love comes back because that's what you want in an offense. You want balance. You don't, you're not going to have as much success if you can only throw the ball or you can only run the ball. We've seen that in the league over the last few years. Teams like the Ravens, for example, a few last year, this year, you see Lamar Jackson throwing the ball quite a bit more than he used to. But a few years ago, the Ravens they just ran the ball constantly.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of success with that. But it obviously did not get them to a Super Bowl. So you need that balance. Because once you have established that you can basically only run the ball or you can only throw the ball, defenses are going to adjust. They're going to load the box against running backs. They're going to play prevent defense, like what you kind of talked about last week, and cut off the one aspect of the offense that a team excels in. So if you've got balance in your offense, it doesn't matter if you hand the ball off to your star running back, he's going to get chunk yardage against you. Well, if you load the box against him, Jordan Love's going to carve your defensive backfield up. So having that balance in the offense is going to be huge. We don't have that. We didn't have that last week. If we got Malik Willis against the Titans this week, we still kind of don't have that. But once Love comes back, I think it's going to be a very dangerous offense.
And it's not even like, I don't know. It's one of those instances where it doesn't even need to be. I agree with what you're saying with balance. So that's important to keep the defense on their toes. But it could be an instance where maybe we take a 17-0 lead with a healthy Jordan Love and an offense. And now you're just playing clock management and you can
Hmm.
ground and pound. This is
Yeah.
the formula for how the Packers have gotten beat in the past. They can't get that freaking run game off the field, and it just stacks and stacks against you. It's a different dimension potentially, and that's what I think what gets me excited is we have that ability to just dominate teams through the rush game. Now it's 1 week. We'll see if it can continue to compound. I really hope it does. But if it does, this can truly turn into an offense that good luck. Like good luck trying to stop us.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. I think the defense can take a step up too. I think the
they
defense is
need to.
better than they played last week. I think they're better than they've played the first 2 weeks, honestly. I think
Yeah.
the defense is very good. They haven't shown their true colors yet, I don't think, which could possibly be the new scheme with Halfley. It could be just growing pains with a new scheme, a new coach, a new way they do things. So maybe it's just some growing pains, but I don't think we've seen the defense play their best. I think they can be better, and hopefully we see that this week.
Is it possible? Because I wrote this note down while watching the game. Is it possible that it could be a personnel problem? That question started to float in my head a little bit with, okay, here we are, another defensive coordinator. I'm not even just talking about Joe Barry. I'm talking about Dom Capers and defensive coordinators that came in, the Mike Pettins. Like for a decade, we have not been able to stop the run. So at what point do you say, okay, maybe it's not scheme, maybe it's the personnel? I don't know. I agree with you wholeheartedly that we have not seen the best Packers defense. We're 2 weeks in. It's hard to just
Yeah,
let's just see it unfold, right? But it's a little bit concerning. And we're not seeing a ton of pressure by Rashawn Gary
right.
and Kenny Clark and Preston Smith. And it's like, okay, we're not getting a ton of pressure on the quarterback. I don't know, like I don't know how many sacks they have. I'm gonna look it up here quick, but it's like, okay, we need our players that we're paying a lot of money to do stuff, and
Hmm.
we have yet to see that on the defensive line. We've seen it in
Yeah.
the secondary, but we have yet to see it in the defensive line.
Yeah, yeah, I'd agree with you. The defensive line has got to step it up, and they showed flashes last week. There was a few plays where, oh, I think Wyatt had a big tackle for loss. McDuffie, I actually wrote this down. I meant to mention it during the last episode, but there was a key third down play in the first quarter, 3rd and 7, I believe it was. Colts Richardson dumped it off out to the running back, swinging out into the flat. And if McDuffie wasn't there, he potentially was going to pick up that first down and continue the drive. McDuffie squashed it. He was right there. I don't even. He made
Yep.
the guy maybe gained a yard. That play stood out to me. McDuffie looked really good on that play. He's been playing well, so that was nice to see. There was flashes. There's like you said
There are flashes.
the defensive backs have looked good. Bullard has looked very good. I think he's pretty much solidified his spot as that safety opposite
Yeah.
McKinney. He's looked good. So there's flashes, but they just gotta put it all together. I think, like you mentioned, I think the key is going to be pressure. I think Gary, Preston Smith, and Vanessa. I think I think this week in practice, Halfley's going to be harping on those guys because of the lack of pressure on the quarterback. And hopefully we see a switch flip with those guys and they're just getting after it. Because I think that's the key to this defense. I think the key to the Halfley's defense is pressure on the quarterback, which is going to cause mistakes and allow the defensive backfield to make plays on the ball. I think that's the key. Pressure, causing mistakes, causing errant throws. So I hopefully we see more of that this week against the Titans. And if you're going to do that against a team or a quarterback specifically, Will Levis is the quarterback to do it against right
Yeah.
now. He's the guy that's gonna make those mistakes. So they got to capitalize on that. That's a big. Last episode we gave our X factors. I think I'm going to change my X factor to that. That's what it's going to be is pressure on Will Levis causing or forcing him to make mistakes because that's what's going to win him the game, honestly.
Yeah. And
That's what I
he's lost the last 2 games. Like him
right.
personally, he's made
Yeah.
decisions that have lost them the game. So that's not I don't know if I can edit that back around. I'll give it my best shot there, Christian.
All right,
But
you don't have to edit it back around. The overtime episode comes out after or before the game anyway, right?
yep, it does. Yep.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm just changing my answer.
and I don't remember if I said it or not in the actual episode or not, but Levis 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 2 fumbles
Yeah.
lost. So he's got a hard time hanging on to the ball. Give him
Yeah, I don't
pressure.
think we mentioned that. I
Make a
had that
mistake.
written down though. His touchdown to interception ratio is 2-3.
Anything else you want to talk about with the Packers related before we move to the rest of the NFC North? Because there's a lot that's happened in the NFC North.
Oh man, I luckily, yeah. To answer your question, I don't have anything else on the Packers. I think we covered most of it. I was about to start getting into the rest of the NFC North because what I was gonna say was, luckily, I haven't been around any of the Vikings fans that I'm friends with lately.
They're still
But
quiet.
are they?
Yeah, mine are.
So Vikings fans still aren't quite sure this is real.
They know. They know they have no business being at the top of the division after 2 weeks. Like, sole
It's
leader at the top of the division.
right. Yeah, it's crazy. Their second win of the season was not against any slouch. They played the 49ers, who even without Christian McCaffrey are a force to be reckoned with. So I give it to them. That's a great win for them. I just don't know that it continues.
Well, like, it can't. I don't think it can. It just Sam Darnold has looked good these first 2 weeks. Jefferson
Mhm.
has that, 97-yard touchdown on Sunday.
Yep.
He's dealing with some injury concerns. They don't think it's gonna be long term, but I don't know.
Jones has looked good too.
Jones has looked good. Yep. He
Yeah.
too had a fumble
I
at
don't
the
know.
1-yard
I
line.
feel like throughout the day yesterday, I was thinking about this Viking situation. I feel like Sam Darnold's been with a lot of different teams, and I feel like this happens every time that he ends up being the starter. We see a couple of games where he's lighting it up and showing flashes like, oh man, maybe he's their guy now. Like maybe he's taken over and he's their new franchise quarterback or whatever. But then after a couple of weeks of success, it turns back to the issues, turnovers and or poor passer rating, stuff like that. I feel like that's coming. I feel like that's coming this week. I have that written down actually. That what's their
play?
matchup? Houston.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like that's this week. I feel like the Vikings come back down to earth this week against the Texans. Texans have been playing really well. Their defense is solid. I think Vikings and Vikings fans come back down to earth this week.
Well, I think part of the reason why they're quiet is my realization watching their highlights on Sunday night after the day of football was over. Minnesota is playing that. We're not the only people that put them at 4th place in the NFC North. The entire pretty much NFL world put the Vikings in 4th place to finish last in the division. So they're a team that has players of talent scattered in different positions on that team. I think they've been playing these last 2 weeks, and specifically in San Francisco, as a team that we got nothing to lose. The entire world has ruled us out. We're supposed to be the worst team in the division. Just go out there, play football, play hard, and try to get some wins. I think once, if it continues to carry, so right now they're 2-0, maybe they upset the Texans and they're 3-0. I think there comes a point though where there starts to become expectations, and they haven't had that these first 2 weeks. And that's where you start to make some mental errors, or the weight of the moment can catch up to you real quick. And I think it's only a matter of time. Do they still finish in 4th place in the division? Yeah, they do. That's my bold prediction. They definitely do. They're going to be the worst team in the division at the end of the season.
Okay. Man, even after 2 weeks, you have not given up on Caleb
The
Williams.
Bears. Caleb Williams is going to be dead by week 4 with that offensive line.
Atrocious.
It is so bad.
Atrocious. And did you see what he came out and said after that game?
Yeah.
I saw a post, I think it was today. He came out and said to reporters something about, I can't showcase my talent if they can't protect me from
Did he say that?
pressure or whatever. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. Again, it was just a post. I guess I don't know 100% if it's true that he said that. But but with the poor play that he has put out there, for him to come out and say that, all of my predictions of him being a prima donna and bringing all this drama to this Bears team, I feel like I called it.
You did. I was there too. You didn't watch Hard Knocks, all right? You don't get it. I got caught up in the moment.
No, man, it's bad.
It is, but I'm okay with it. Like, I'm perfectly fine with it. I thought that, and I still do. I think he has a skill set. I learned on Sunday night that, man, this guy came from money. Like, he
Oh,
was
really?
in, yeah, he was in like Peyton Manning and Russell Wilson and all these football camps, and has photos of him being like a kid next to these players. Like, he was shipped to some pretty well-known football camps, and then on top of that, I don't know, his dad made a schedule for him that he stuck to because he was determined he was going to be a quarterback in the NFL. And good on him. He put in the work and the effort, and he got number 1 overall pick. And we'll see what comes of it, but it's going to boil down to that offensive line. And this kind of goes back to Justin Fields the last 2-3 years. He was always scrambling. He was always running for his life. And Caleb Williams he took some shots on Sunday, and that will not work in the long run if they don't figure out a way to protect him. But I guess to answer your original question, yeah, I still see them finishing 3rd in the division.
Okay. All right.
You think they fall to 4th?
I don't know if they win a single game this year.
They already won a game.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's hard to count that as a win because of how terrible the offense was. That I feel like it was so much luck. Will Levis just handing the ball to him for a touchdown, a blocked punt it was a touchdown on the blocked punt, right?
Yeah. No. It was like it went to like the 10-yard line, and then
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Still, it's hard to count that as a win, honestly. I guess I said it last episode, a win's a win. It is, but I'll rephrase. I don't know if I see them winning another game this year with how terrible their offense has played. So
yeah, it's rough. It's definitely rough.
It's rough. And for him to come out and say, I can't showcase my talent if they can't protect me in the pocket. There are different ways.
Did he actually say that?
I don't know.
I'm trying to find it. I know. I'm trying to find it. Oh, wait, you said showcase my talent. I'll just Google that.
As you're trying to find it, I'm trying to look it up too, but I got to pee quick. So we can cut out a little section here.
I have not found it yet. No. I think Caleb Williams. Nope, I'm not even going to say it. Oh, I'm going to say, I think Caleb Williams might be the Donald Trump of football players. All right. And because I can't find anything that on the internet that says that quote exists. And as a non-Caleb Williams fan, you're just going to go off and believe it. But we do something the legacy media does not do. We go into the facts. We are trying to fact check this. I got nothing.
I'll find it. Maybe I'll find it. I'll find it and send it to you. But anyway, let's move.
And if Christian finds it, that quote will show up now. All right. So we either saw it or we didn't. We don't know.
We saw it or we were just pointing at nothing.
No, we're pointing at Brad Childress because that's totally going to be my edit if you can't find that.
Brad Childress. Just so everyone listening knows, Naraya has sent me that picture of Brad Childress in our text messages back and forth. I don't know how many times. And every time I see it, I open up my text message. I'm like, shit.
It's pretty startling for sure.
Gets me every time.
Lions also fall to 1-1 on Sunday to Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Now, there is a side conversation I'm going to go or segue from this one. But before I do that, you weren't that high on the Detroit Lions after week 1 over the Rams. You think it's cause for concern? They were very early season predictions. I know you like to defend yourself when I bring this up, but you did have the Detroit Lions at like 12-5, 13-4, something like that. 2 weeks into the season, you've actually seen them play a little bit of football. Not very reassuring as far as their performances. You think this is still a dominant team and someone that's going to give the Packers the run for their money as far as a when Jordan Love comes back and they're healthy.
Yeah. So their woes to start the season, I know they're 1-1, so they did win that week 1 game. I think it's fixable. I think just what I mentioned after the week 1 win against the Rams was their offense just did not seem to be clicking. And we saw it again in week 2. I don't think that's necessarily going to be something we see throughout the season. I think they figure it out and their offense starts clicking again, and they'll turn right back into dominant team that a lot of people thought of them to start the season. So I think they fix their issues. It's just a matter of how long it takes them to fix that stuff. Their defense still looks
Aiden
solid.
Hutchinson.
Aiden Hutchinson had how many sacks in that game?
Yeah, I got it somewhere right here. 4.5 sacks.
Yeah. Four
That's
and
a
a half
lot.
sacks. I think
He
that's more
he leads the
sacks
league
than
with 5.5.
I think that's more sacks than the Titans have had all season so far.
Packers too.
Right. So
Yeah.
so their defense looks great. I think their offense just for whatever reason hasn't been clicking, but with the players that they have on offense, I think they figure it out. Who do they got this week? Arizona. Whew.
Ooh, I like them Cardinals. I do like
Yeah,
them Cardinals.
the Cardinals looked very good this last week. So that's actually each week we kind of talk about games outside of the Packer game that we are looking forward to watch. That's one that I have written down is Detroit, Arizona. Because I don't know. Like I said, I think Detroit figures it out. I think their offense starts clicking. And if they can do that this week against Arizona, it's still a possibility that they lose because Arizona looked hot this last week. So I just see that as being a very good game if Detroit can get their offense clicking again.
Is Jared Goff a good quarterback?
Yes.
Why?
I think Jared Goff is a solid game manager and he can make plays. It's not I don't think I would put him in talks of top quarterbacks in the league, but he's a solid quarterback. I put him above a lot of starters
Top
in
50,
the NFL.
50%?
Yeah, definitely in the top 50% of the league. That's for sure.
I don't think he is.
No?
I don't know. I
You don't
think,
like him?
well, I really never have. He got drafted by
Yeah.
LA back in 2016. They made it to the Super Bowl. Did they win the Super Bowl with Goff? No, that was Stafford that they won the Super Bowl with.
Correct. Yeah, they made it
Yeah.
to the Super Bowl with Goff, and then they played the most boring Super Bowl I've ever watched in my life. That was Rams Patriots, was it?
Is that what it was? I don't know.
I think so. I think it was Rams Patriots, and the Rams. That was the season that the Rams like put up an unreasonable amount of points each week. Like their offense was insane, and then
Yeah.
you get to the Super Bowl, and it was very defensive. There was very little scoring. It was super boring, and the Patriots and Tom Brady won another freaking Super Bowl.
I
So
mean,
that's
he's been in
always
the that's always fun. This is his 9th season, so he's been in the league for 8 years. 4 of those years, he has thrown over 4,000 yards, with really 3 of those 4 years over 4,500 yards. So his yardage is there. I don't know. Maybe this is the year he regresses, is what I'm getting at. I think there's a chance,
okay.
like if there's a possibility that he can regress this season through 2 games. Oh, let me look at 24. He has 3 interceptions, 1 touchdown. It doesn't help that Puka Nacua is hurt. It doesn't help that Cooper Kupp went out. I'm thinking
You're
of the
talking about the
Rams.
Rams.
I am talking about the Rams.
You're
So
talking
what's
about
his
the
excuse?
Rams and Matthew
Then what's his
Stafford.
excuse? I don't have any excuses. I am looking at Jared Goff's stats, though, just to be fair. I don't know. I guess what I'm getting at there is this could be a year that he regresses back to reality, because I think he's been playing out of his mind or outside of his field. He's like the Reggie Roby. Do you know what that term is?
Never heard that in my life, honestly.
I don't know if it's like an inside joke that nobody will get unless they know the inside joke, but it's like a guy who swings out of his league with a really hot girlfriend or a wife, right? Like he's just been playing
Out
above his
outkicks his
potential.
coverage.
Yeah, outkicked his coverage for sure.
That's
Yep.
what I say with my wife. I definitely outkicked my coverage.
Well, at least you acknowledge it. So
Yeah.
kudos to you, Christian.
Yeah, thank you.
So we'll see what happens with the Detroit Lions. It could be a regression year, but a little bit of an up and down start. We'll see how that one pans out. Segueing though, they get beat by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the 2-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we're going to do
Bucks have looked good.
surprise. We're going to do surprising 2-0 teams to start the season and
Sure.
surprising 0-2 teams.
0-2 teams.
Yeah, for me at 0-2, there's a couple of them out there right now. You have. Well, I know who I want to pick. Who are the other ones?
Who you want to pick for your survivor? Is that what you're getting at?
No. All right. 0-2. You have the Rams, the Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, Cooper Cupulus Rams, as we discussed before. You have the Bengals at 0-2. That was a wild fucking end of a game. Don't get me started there. And then you have the Baltimore Ravens. I'd say everyone else is maybe not as big of a surprise. You also have the Colts at 0-2, the Panthers, the Giants. Let's throw Jacksonville in there. They're 0-2 as well. You'd think that'd be a 1-1 team. Of those teams I've listed out, which is the most surprising to you? For me, I'll answer, I guess, because it's the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah. And we'll get to power rankings here in a second, but that's surprising.
It really is.
A toe away from beating Kansas City in week 1. And then to go out there, they were 7 points favorites because we talked about Survivor League last week. And it's like 7-point favorites against the Raiders.
We both agreed that was the gimme game. That was no-brainer.
Right. And Justin Tucker, most consistent of consistent kickers in the league, misses a field goal late in that game, ends up having to go to overtime. And the rest is history. Ravens lose that game. Just as a pretty big shocker. I
saw a stat over Sunday about Justin Tucker. It was something about his last maybe it was less than that. Last 4 or 5 kicks of 50+ yards. He's missed most of them. It was a little bit eye-opening because as far as
I saw that
looking at it from a fantasy perspective, Justin Tucker's, if you have a league that includes kickers anymore, I personally don't think kickers belong in fantasy football, but if you do have a kicker slot in your fantasy league, Justin Tucker's typically the top kicker that you want to try and get because he's so consistent. But seeing that stat about him missing quite a few 50+ yard kicks recently kind of shows maybe he's losing it a little bit. Maybe he's not going to be quite as consistent.
And to backtrack before I roast myself here, it wasn't overtime. They did win in regulation. The Raiders won in regulation. But yeah, it is a little bit surprising. I'm trying to find the field goal percentage for I want the whole NFL. Thank you. And Braden Narvison has a higher field goal percentage than Justin Tucker. How about that?
Wow. Look at that.
Yep.
How about them?
71.4% and Narbison's at 75%. So we got ourselves a kicker, ladies and gentlemen. Outside of that, there's I don't know how many kickers there are. Probably 32 if I had to guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I would guess there's been 32 kickers that have kicked this year, right? Maybe there's 33.
Yeah, there's definitely been more than 32 because I believe on Sunday.
Okay, I'm going to count.
There was a kicker that got injured, and it was I don't even remember what game it was. There was a kicker that got injured, and they had their punter come in and kick a game-winning field goal for him. I can't remember what game it was. Was it the Commanders? Yeah, Commanders-Giants game. Yeah, that's what it was. So it's got to be 33.
Did he make it or did he miss it?
He made it. Commanders won that game.
I don't know then.
Speaking of, they were my survivor pick this week. So
I did count 33 kickers, and 24 of those kickers have not missed a field goal so far through 2 weeks. So anyway, a little fun fact for you. What's your surprise 0-2 pick? Our team.
It would have been the Ravens as well. That's especially the loss to the Chiefs. like you said, it was, you know, by inches they lost.
Yeah.
Um, they played well against arguably the best team in the league, and then for them to come back and lose to the Raiders, who I don't even know who the starting quarterback is for the Raiders at this point. Gardner Minshew still,
It is, yeah.
who is apparently lighting it up.
Well, that's all he does. All he does is
That's a
light it up.
that's a similar situation to Sam Darnold. I feel like Gardner Minshew has been in the league for a while now. He's been with a bunch of different teams, and there'll be a couple games where he lighting it up and getting wins and throwing it all over the place, looking like a prodigy. And then after those couple of games, everything comes back down to earth, and he's
You gotta
throwing
love it
picks.
while it lasts. Love it while it
Right?
lasts.
Yeah, yeah. Those teams that have those types of quarterbacks, they gotta. There wasn't a lot of hope for their season to begin with, so
So we have 9 2-0 teams through 2 weeks. Probably know our guess. Well, let's take the Vikings off the table because we've already talked about them. I think that's
mhm.
probably the biggest surprise at 2-0. Neither of us saw that coming. Bills, Saints, Vikings, Texans, Chargers, Seahawks, Steelers, Chiefs, and Buccaneers. Any of those names ring a bell? As far as I didn't expect them to be 2-0. I think outside of the
Ste-
Vikings, go ahead. You just go ahead on this one.
I was gonna say Steelers. A little
Mhm.
surprised that they're 2-0. I don't know. Their offense is kind of questionable. They've got Justin Fields starting. Obviously, we know Justin Fields well from his years with the Bears, so wasn't expecting them to go 2-0 right away. But yeah, outside of that, I guess I don't know that I'm extremely surprised by any of the other ones.
The Bay would be probably the other one for me.
Yeah, but Tampa Bay is last season, Baker Mayfield looked good. They've got good weapons.
Yeah.
Their defense, their last year, I think they were, if not the best, one of the top run defenses in the league. So I'm not very surprised by the Bucks being 2-0.
Maybe I view Baker Mayfield as kind of like a Jared Goff skill set
Sure.
where can he do it? Yeah. Does he do it? Not always.
I
And
don't know. He's looked
is it enough to
Tampa
carry
Bay
you? Probably not.
Baker playing in Tampa Bay, it looks like he's found it seems like the other teams that he was with just weren't the right fit or something, but he's really excelled in Tampa Bay. So I'm not he's performed well there. It's hard to say that I don't believe that he's a good quarterback.
So I do want to talk about the Thursday night game, Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills, piggybacking off of what we thought our power rankings and stuff were last week. We kind of had those teams 1 and 2. We flip flopped on who we picked in
Mhm.
that game. I think you might have picked Miami, or no, you picked Buffalo to win that. I was more on the Miami train. And I honestly thought that the whole theme of me picking teams to win was going to carry on through the weekend. So thank God my score prediction was somewhat accurate because I'm like, okay, I finally feel like I know what I'm talking about. I was really starting to get concerned. But Tua goes out of the game, gets his concussion. That is a tough spot in multiple layers. And this is, I just kind of want to get your thoughts and have a conversation because we exchanged a couple texts. We didn't
Mhm.
really dive into it too much outside of that, but you're looking at a guy who got a massive contract this offseason, which is looking back on that is a little bit surprising given the health issues that Tua has had in this first couple of years in the NFL. But he gets that massive contract. Miami Dolphins commit to him. There's a lot of weapons on that offense all around him. And now I'm not sure. I could maybe look up some headlines or injury updates, but I believe I don't think I know for sure he's not playing this week or next week or anytime soon. I think the
Yeah.
rumor is that they might sit him the rest of the season.
Well, so they placed him on IR. They haven't come out and said how long exactly that's going to be. Like we talked about last episode, IR means at least 4 games. So
Right.
we won't see him for at least 4 weeks, honestly, in my opinion. So the concussions, the head injuries that he's had in the past, they were pretty bad. And watching that game and watching how he got this head injury against the Bills,
Yep.
it wasn't that violent of a hit. It really his head hit, ironically enough, it was Damar Hamlin who tackled him, the guy who collapsed on the field back in, what was it, 2020 or 21?
I want to say.
Yeah, either way,
Regardless, yep.
ironically it was Damar Hamlin that was tackling him. But watching the replay and the slow motion of it, really it wasn't that violent of a hit. His head hit Hamlin's arm. You know, if it was a helmet to helmet or a helmet to knee type hit, that's more violent, more likely to cause a concussion. But watching the hit, it wasn't that bad. And when he went down, he was, the typical severe concussion, the arms locking up, and it looked bad.
Yep.
His body's reaction to the hit looked a lot worse than the hit was. And to me, I feel like he's got to seriously consider retiring.
Yeah.
Because if your body, your brain can't take that type of hit, you're if you continue to play, you're risking your life at that point. I think that Tua really needs to consider hanging it up, or he's going to be in some serious trouble. We'll see what he and the Dolphins decide, but my opinion is he should retire. Not that I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think that he's as good of a quarterback as the contract they gave him. Yeah, so I've got nothing against the guy. I worry about him seriously altering his life if he continues to play football. So
yeah,
yeah.
And when it comes to Tua, not every take needs to be a hot take when you do these podcasts and whatnot. I think the very common consensus that I've seen throughout the various Good Morning Footballs and everything is Tua needs to seriously consider retirement or to hang up in the cleats and not play again. And I'm in that boat too. I what you pointed out about how it didn't seem like that significant of a hit, but how he reacted to it, those are only going to become more and more prevalent the longer he plays. And if he continues to get hit and whatnot, it's going to take less and less for those concussion symptoms to show up. And man, the long-term ramifications, I don't know. I would not, if I was in this position, it's easy for me to say because I'm not potentially giving up $124 million for my family, but that seems like a no-brainer. That pun intended. That was no pun intended on that one.
Well, and honestly, good on the after that hit happened, he was able to get up, he was able to walk off the field, and the Dolphins head coach came over and kind of hugged him, kissed him on the head. And then I read something that what's the Dolphins head coach, Mike McDaniel, it came out that after that hit, McDaniel said, "You're the starting quarterback for your family. Focus on being with your family. Don't worry about the team. Don't worry about football. You need to focus on you and your family, and you need to make the correct decision for you." So good on the head coach for understanding that this was bigger than football, bigger than the Dolphins season. It was a scary thing to see. Like we said, the hit really wasn't that bad. It wasn't a scary hit, but the reaction his body had, the previous injuries, it was scary.
And just to get a little bit more into like the football and to maybe a selfish look at it, because it is just a game. And I'll preface by saying I agree with you. It's bigger than football. Take care of yourself, take care of family. And that's where I'm at with him hanging up the cleats. But if you're a Miami Dolphins fan, or just imagine if Jordan Love's in a similar situation and we think we found our quarterback of the next 5, 10, 15 years, and you're seeing this unfold before your eyes, what a selfishly terrible position to be in for that sports team's fan base, just to know that we have this perhaps generational talent, whatever. He hasn't been able to stay healthy enough maybe to prove that, but he's got potential for sure. And now where does that put you as the team and the organization? And you're looking at, okay, now we had to draft another quarterback, and finding a quarterback with a skill set is a dime a dozen. You might take Caleb Williams and never see the playoffs ever in your lifetime. So it could be way worse. Luckily, we have Jordan Love, who is dealing with a leg injury and it's just a sprain. But you look at those situations where I was heartbroken that we might lose Love for a season. What does it mean to be a fan of a team like that, where there's passionate Dolphins fans across the country, and to be like, we really have no idea where we're going to go from here at quarterback? Yeah, you want Tua to be good, but like, man, where do you go? You're back to the draft, and you're just hoping for the best. And that's a long.
Yeah.
That's an organization that has struggled since Marino to
Right.
find someone to fill those shoes.
Right. And with Tua and this offense that they have, a lot of Dolphins fans had hope that this was the turn after those Marino years. This was the turn into some more success, maybe a Super Bowl or two. But yeah, it's tough. It'd be very tough to be a Dolphins fan right now because just the conflicting feelings, like you said, where if Tua's done, where do they go from here? Start over, basically. But you also don't want to say that you think that he should keep playing because he's at risk of
Right.
doing permanent damage to himself.
Right.
So yeah, that's a tough spot to be in as a fan for sure.
So this is a little bit off script, but it made me think that there's been rumors. I don't know, rumors is the right term, but talk, hope that Tom Brady might come to Miami and play for the Dolphins. I don't think that's happening, but that makes me want to
No.
segue to, have you had a chance to listen to Tom Brady do play-by-play on Fox yet?
No, I honestly
No?
haven't. No.
Yeah.
What game did he commentate this week?
So I didn't watch a lot of football this last week, so I'm not sure. I would venture to guess it was the afternoon game on Fox if they had one, but he did the Cowboys and Browns game week 1. It was not good at all. Like, he's got a lot of learning and to go.
Oh, that makes me feel so good.
It was not, yeah,
Makes
it
me
was
feel
not
so
good.
good.
Like, he was getting teed up for like, okay, here's your chance to do some player analysis and what's going on in the field, and what's Tony Romo's probably the most popular as of late. And I'm not saying I'm a Tony Romo fan because maybe he's a little bit too much these days, but he'd be like, he'd kind of predict the play before it would happen. Tom Brady doesn't say a goddamn thing, and it was pretty brutal in week 1. So we'll definitely have to see how that pans out. But I don't know. He got paid a shit ton of money, but I don't really see Tom Brady as like a NFL analyst. I don't know what he's doing. Like, why is he doing that? And they released a commercial even showing like doubt Tom Brady at commentator. Did you see that commercial?
No.
I have to look it up. It aired, and I'm like, it's Tom Brady sitting on the couch and saying that he can't commentate, or he should just look at doing different things, and is all, yeah, he's gonna take on the challenge. I
I
digress.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he's always kind of been, even in
Bitch.
interviews or public speaking or whatever while he was playing. I feel like he's always, I don't know, been kind of awkward speaking. So for him to be on a broadcast and supposed to be talking the whole game, I'm not surprised that it's not going well.
I don't want to listen to him talk either.
Well, yeah, no, I don't. No. Did you ever watch the roast of Tom Brady?
Yeah, that was great. That was really good.
That was a lot of
Very
fun to
good.
watch.
Yeah.
And even in that specifically, when it was his turn to get up and roast everybody else, it was weird. He like tried to be all like super aggressive and it just wasn't landing. I don't know.
Poor Greg
Yeah.
Olson. Greg
Right.
Olson's he's a great play-by-play announcer, and just got shafted
Right.
by Tom Brady once again. All right. We got 2 more. Let's do 2 more items. Or I want to skip prize picks. Maybe you have some or not, but
I don't
okay,
have prize
perfect.
picks this week. It's too early. Tuesday's too early.
Too
in
early.
the week
We might drop that segment altogether. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
I did win. So prize picks, I haven't done very well. DraftKings again this week. Another couple $100 this week. I've been
Nice.
it's been going pretty well on DraftKings. So hopefully that continues.
Great reminder, 5,000 subscribers. Christian's going to buy your tickets for a Packers game because he's prize picking it up.
Damn it.
Let's take a look at the upcoming week 3 slate of games. We'll go kind of line by line like we did last week. I thought that was fun and entertaining. And then we will have an opportunity to pick our survivors. Last week, I took the Houston Texans, and they squeaked one out against the Bears. Who did you have last week? Did you take the Commanders?
I did.
And they squeaked one out against the Giants. That was a lot closer game than we're probably comfortable. Those are the kind of victories you want, though, in Survivor.
Yeah. Right, exactly. That's you want those
I'm catching on.
Low win percentage teams. You want to take those early.
All right. So we're zoomed in to week 3, our Thursday night matchup. Oh, whoa, let's go way up here. Thursday night matchup. Ooh, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are hosting the New England Patriots. The better than expected New England Patriots sitting at 1-1.
Right.
Both teams
and they were in that week 2 game. It's not like they got dominated by any means. So that's been surprising. But
we've yet to see anything impressive out of the New York Jets so far to start the year. But I think we would both probably agree that. Can you still see it? No? Okay, hold on.
I don't know what's going on. It looks like it was.
There we go. We're good. Sorry about that. Are we taking the Jets?
I'm going to take the Patriots.
Okay. I'll take the Jets.
I don't know. I think the Patriots, the reason why they've been successful, I think, is because of the way their defense has played.
It has been.
I think the Patriots defense frustrates Aaron Rodgers and that Jets offense, and I don't know.
That'd be meltdown in New
getting
Jersey,
weird with it.
I hope you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm okay with you getting weird. And there's no right or wrong answer, quite frankly, but you don't have to get weird with all of them, though. Who do you have in the Cleveland New York Giants game?
Probably the Browns. Yeah. Not going to get weird here.
I agree. Giants, not good. Bears, you say they're not going to win another game this season. They're playing the Colts, who are coming off of a tough loss to the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I think the Colts beat the Bears.
I do too. I think the Colts are going to beat the Bears as well. Chicago has yet to show me anything. Caleb Williams still hasn't thrown a touchdown yet. Their offensive line, we've talked about, is pretty much garbage. And the Colts probably are going to win that game. I was going to say they're better than we expect, but they're not. I just think they're better than the Bears. Vikings hosting the Houston Texans. It's a noon game, if that changes any thoughts.
No, I'm taking the Texans.
I'm going to take Minnesota.
Oh, boy. Okay.
All right. You can't just walk away. Yeah, and Minnesota's still going to finish at the bottom of the division. Just listen to me contradict myself for 2 hours and subscribe.
No, I had to pee, but that kind of worked out. Make it look like I'm super upset about you picking the Vikings.
I don't know. Houston should have destroyed the Bears, right? And so I'm playing this game in my head. Okay, so Houston should have destroyed the Bears at home, Sunday Night Football, first Sunday Night Football or a primetime game in years. Like they kept saying it. I wasn't really paying attention. Minnesota's feeling high. They just beat the Niners. Nobody saw that coming. So they're at home. It's noon. Maybe if it was prime time, I like the Houston Texans, but I think just this random noon game on a Sunday, and we're going to start to see some just stupid scores come across the bottom on the ticker while I'm watching the Packers game, and I'll be like, what the hell? Is Minnesota really going to be 3-0? That's how I feel about that game.
All right.
Let's get to a more interesting matchup, as if none of these were interesting so far. Philadelphia, who drops to 1-1 after just a bizarre Monday Night Football ending. Did you catch the Monday Night Football game?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was a very good game, but surprising. That
should they have gone for it?
It was the right play. He just dropped it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the play call, it was the drop.
No, and I agree with you 100%. That's a game where if I'm an Eagles fan, I'm not upset with the aggressive approach and going because he would have picked it up had he caught it, but it's just you feel sick to your stomach because you should have won that game and they lost. So for all intents and purposes, Philadelphia should be 2-0. The Saints are freaking hot. Destroyed the Cowboys on Sunday. Love to see it. New Orleans is at home. The Eagles could fall to 1-2, and I would take the Saints in this one. I've yet to see anything to convince me that the Saints offense can be stopped. They're putting up like 28 points in the first half of these games, just blowing out teams, and it's been a catch-up game for their last two opponents. So I believe in the Eagles. I think the Eagles are a solid team, but I got to see New Orleans get beat before I bet against them.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I see New Orleans has looked very good, and obviously we've seen the Eagles have their issues. So, yeah, I'd go Saints in this one too, especially at home. That's a big deal. If it was in Philly, I might flip that, but being in New Orleans, I think the Saints keep rolling, at least for now.
2-0 Chargers face off against the 2-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Justin Fields' honeymoon is officially over. Chargers have looked, they're 2-0. They've looked good. I don't know if I'd say great, but they've looked good. And I think they take care of business against the Pittsburgh Steelers. No surprises there, I think. Head down to Baker Mayfield hosting the Bo Nix Denver Broncos. These Broncos lost to Seattle in week 1, lost to the Steelers in week 2. God, I'm looking for some upsets here. Don't like Tampa Bay, but trap game. I'm taking Broncos. Let's go. I'm taking Vikings. I'm taking Broncos. We're getting crazy.
Wow.
Carolina heads to Vegas. Carolina is the worst team in the league, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of people thought they would kind of turn it around a little bit this year, but they have not looked good.
And they benched Bryce Young, so maybe get a spark from that. I don't know, but Vegas is at home. Antonio Pierce has got that team motivated. Came off a nice win against the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, Raiders will take that one. Miami and Seattle. Going Seattle.
Probably. I don't know. I can see the Dolphins turning around and getting a win.
With who?
They got a lot of weapons, and Packers did it with Malik Willis. It's about game plan and playing to your strengths. So they got a good coach.
I'm out here like criticizing you for taking Miami over Seattle, and I went with the Broncos and the Vikings. So I'm sorry. I apologize. I do apologize. It's the Legion of Boom though, and Seattle is not a bad
Legion of Boom. What are we in? 2017? Like,
it doesn't go away.
Oh,
it's like chlamydia.
It just keeps coming back.
I think that, I don't know if that goes away or not. I'm not a medical.
Yeah, I don't know from experience, honestly. I have no idea.
Detroit at Arizona. You highlighted this one as your game of the week. You did take the Dolphins, though, right? Against the Seahawks, because I'm taking the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'll go Dolphins. I'll go Dolphins.
I'm going with Arizona all day. This is probably my favorite non-Packers team to cheer for, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
maybe because they're not really they're not a division opponent. I like Kyler Murray. I think he's a short, little, fun guy to watch throw the football around, and they're playing the Detroit Lions, so more reason just to love them. I'll take Arizona in that one. Man, Detroit could fall to 1-2.
Yeah, I think like we talked about last episode, I think the Lions just haven't been clicking on offense, but they can turn it around, and I think they turn it around this week. I'll take the Lions in this one.
Baltimore goes to Dallas. Does Baltimore fall to 0-3, or does Dallas fall to 1-2?
No, I think the Ravens come back with a vengeance this week, and we see them tear apart the Cowboys.
So that's two really good games in the afternoon hour of Sunday. I agree. You take Baltimore, and then comes the third. I think it's a good game. San Francisco at LA. It's a divisional matchup. You don't like the Rams. I get it. I'm fine with that. San Francisco coming off a loss to the Vikings. They should win this game. I say I'm taking Rams, though. I think the Rams win this game.
No, I think San Francisco turns it around. The Rams, just the injuries to Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, their two main weapons on offense. I don't think that especially against the Niners, who are top 2, top 3 in the league right now. Even with the loss to the Vikings, I still think they're top 2, top 3 in the league. I don't think the Rams pull this one out.
See, I feel it. Yeah. Week 3 just kind of seems like you think you have a good lay of the land. Like we think we might have an idea of who these teams are, or maybe we refuse to believe who these teams are because they either have not performed to their standard or whatever the case may be. It just seems like Francisco knows that they should beat the Rams, and that's why. I'm going Broncos. I'm going Vikings. I'm just feeling spicy on these week 3 picks. I'm going to go Rams. I will not go Atlanta though. Fuck Kirk Cousins. He's the worst.
2 primetime games in a row for the Falcons. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think that Kirk Cousins doesn't do it again this week.
And
I
that's
don't
not
even
so
know
much.
if it's a competition this week.
Yeah, and that's not so much like the Chiefs they look good in week 1. They did not look good this past week in week 2 against the Bengals, but I don't know. They're better than Atlanta, so would not be surprised for Kansas City to win that one. Jacksonville and Buffalo, 0-2 Jacksonville versus 2-0 Buffalo. At Buffalo, man, we're looking at some teams here that could go 0-3. We talk about shocker. It kind of seems like Buffalo should win that game, and I believe they will. And then
Yeah,
and then
they're at home. They're playing well. They are coming off another win. Jacksonville's got they're coming off a loss and they got to travel. I don't see the Bills losing this one.
yeah, and Lawrence got one of those big contracts too recently, and to start 0-3 is not the direction that organization thought that they would be going. So it could get real ugly in Jacksonville real quick. And
Well, that's
then
not where we thought they would be going either.
no. And then Cincinnati finally gets their first victory of the season over the Washington Commanders. Not a surprise of it. No upset?
Man,
Why does this one intrigue you?
I don't know. Jaden Daniels intrigues me. I would hate to. I like Joe Burrow. I like the Bengals, but they have not. They've struggled. I don't know.
They
I
should
think
have
I'm
won
gonna
that
go.
game on Sunday. Who are we kidding?
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll stick with the Bengals.
They're not going 0-3.
I had to
There's
take
no
pause.
way.
I had to take pause. I do. Jaden Daniels does intrigue me,
He does.
but yeah, let's Joe Burrow and
They
those.
they squeeze one out against the Giants. I'm not taking them to beat the Bengals. Bengals are at home. +5.
Yeah.
I don't know what the spread is, but all right. So survivor pick. We are both 1-1. I don't like any of these matchups.
I'm gonna take. I'm gonna take the Dolphins. I picked them to win. I mean, with Tua
Wow.
being out or potentially being done for good, as far as Survivor League goes, you want to take these lower win percentage teams when you can, and I think they're going to beat the Seahawks. So
Yeah, I'm between Cleveland and Indianapolis. Cleveland's defense is way too good for that New York Giants offense. So I'm going to take Cleveland, and for a lot of the same reasons. I think Cleveland's a 500 team when the season's all said and done. Probably a little bit. They're probably 8-9 is probably where their season shakes out to be. So I'll take one of these early Cleveland matchups because I don't think I'll want to probably pick them later on in the season. Power rankings. Did you update your week 3 power rankings?
yeah, I struggled a little bit with the power rankings, but I do have something written down at least.
All right. All right.
Start.
Yeah, go for it.
Before I start my power rankings, I wanted to show you. I got something in the mail the other day, something to add to my background here. I got to get a frame for it.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to throw it up.
Was that like sheep's wool or skin? What's that?
Sheep's wool. The
Lanolin?
hell are you talking about? It's a
Like
canvas.
it's a canvas. Okay.
Yeah. It's a
It
canvas.
looks like it's leather.
It's like I don't know. It's printed on canvas, I
Mhm.
guess.
That's
Yeah.
cool. I like that.
Yeah. Thought it was nice. This is a perfect spot for me to put the weekly plug. Jordan Love, you want to join the podcast, have a little chat? We'd love to have you. It'd be super fun.
It would be fun, Jordan. So do that.
Yeah. Okay. Power.
On that point, if we could get like a player, I'm not even talking about for ratings or subscribers or anything like that. I would just love to ask some of these players questions that they've never been asked before. Right?
Yeah.
Like I've heard all the same questions asked to these guys. Oh, what was it like sitting behind Rodgers for 3 years? And what's it like being the face of Green Bay? Like I want to ask them questions. And I'm not going to share what those questions are, but I want to dive 3 layers deep. Maybe 7 layers deep.
My mind is racing with all these oddball, probably inappropriate questions that
no, they wouldn't be inappropriate, but they would be questions that they haven't been asked before. I don't want to get them canceled. This cancel culture we live in. I just want to know a little bit more about them.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. What would you ask him?
What would I ask Jordan Love?
You get one question. Jordan Love comes on the show. You get to ask him one question.
This is too on the spot. I would have to think about what I want to ask Jordan Love. If Jordan Love was to come on the podcast, at least 2 days.
Nope.
To decide what I'm going to ask him.
No. You are so lucky that my computer is just not working because I was going to pull up a picture of Brad Childress right there. And here he is. Your question of the night. Missed it.
Brad Childress.
Power rankings.
All right, power rankings, week 3. I got Kansas City at number 1. I still have San Francisco at number 2. Even with the loss to the Vikings, I think that they're still the same team. I think that I don't know what happened week 2, but I think they turn it back around this week and get back on track. Number 3, I have the Buffalo Bills. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize this was your week 3 power rankings.
Off. You keep going.
I thought you were comparing to last week. All right. Number 4, I'll just go off of what I have written down. I'm kind of rethinking this a little bit, but what I have written down is Philadelphia at number 4.
Okay.
New Orleans at number 5.
They make a top 10 appearance for the first time.
I have Green Bay at number 6.
Yeah.
My thought process with Packers being at number 6, I think I had them at 10 last week. The win against the Colts, to me, shows that they are a more well-rounded team than just Jordan Love. Jordan Love being out, they were still able to secure a win with different aspects of their game, different guys being the focus of their game plan. So once Jordan Love comes back, this team's going to be a force to be reckoned with. So that's why I have Packers at number 6.
Okay.
Number 7, I got Houston. Number 8, I have Detroit. 9, I have Tampa Bay.
Now you got Tampa Bay in the top 10.
Tampa Bay, I don't know, man. Baker Mayfield, that offense looks good. They got a solid defense. I think they're legit. And then number 10, I have the LA Chargers.
Yeah.
LA Chargers have looked solid. They run the ball well. Their defense plays well. We'll see if that continues to be successful, but they've looked very good through the first couple of weeks.
All right. So 1, 2, and 3 we agree on. Chiefs at 1. That's their first time they're reaching the top of the summit for me. I agree. San Francisco's had an off week, whatever. That team's way too good to be any further than 3 or 4 on the power rankings, but I kept them at 2. The Bills, yes, I'm with you there at 3. Who'd you have at 4 again?
Philly.
Yeah, I'm not there with Philly. Philly dropped 2 spots because I had them at 5 last week for number. Yeah, they pretty much blew that game last night, but they blew that game to a team that I don't have a lot of respect for, and I think that's me. I contradict myself a little bit because San Francisco lost the Niners, they lost to the Vikings, so maybe that contradicts myself a little bit. But I feel like they should have easily taken care of the Atlanta Falcons at home on Monday Night Football. So I dropped them all the way down to 7. I put Houston at number 4, not necessarily because of the competition, but because I'm looking at the rest of these this was a tough power rankings to do, but I think Houston being at 2-0, finding a way to win. They looked fast and furious at times on Sunday night against the Bears. And I think I do have faith in CJ Stroud that he is one of the better quarterbacks, and he'll that team just kind of will themselves to be successful here. Lions dropped them 2 spots down to 5. Did you have the Ravens at all in your top 10? Could not take them out. And so they're my only 0-2 team in the top 10. And surprisingly, I have them still ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, for the reasons I've listed before, they were right in the game with Kansas City, and I think they just they were a missed field goal away from winning against the Vegas Raiders. So I have them at number 6. Eagles dropped to 7. The 2 new teams, Chargers at 8. I have them kind of looking back at where I would have placed them last week, up about 4 spots. They were probably at number 12 on my rankings last week. And then the Saints only at 9. I think looking at all these teams on this top 10, the Saints have been the most explosive and the most energetic, and like they're just absolutely destroying the first 2 teams that they've played. So it's going to be fun to see what happens this upcoming week. But
I'm surprised you have the Saints below the Chargers and the Eagles. I know I have the Eagles higher than you do, but just based off of your explanation of your rankings, I'm surprised you have the Saints below those 2.
yeah, it's a real conundrum with what goes through my mind when I do that. But I don't know. I feel there's a little bit of where I see these teams ending the season and where they have performed through the first 2 weeks. The only outlier to that thinking is the Packers at 10. I wanted to put them somewhere around that 6-7 spot for all the reasons that you mentioned. I think the fact that they're able to put together a game like they did on Sunday against the Colts, and the rest of the team around them looked very good, wanted me to bump them higher in these rankings, but there's more time this season to do that. And I think just kind of with how the rest of these teams are currently looking, like heading into next week's matchup, I would take the Packers at 10. So we talked about this upcoming week of games. I'm just looking at these rankings real quick, and I don't know if did I pick against any of these teams to lose? I don't know if I did.
You took the Rams to beat the Niners.
I did take the Rams as an upset.
You took the Eagles to lose to the Cardinals.
I love those Cardinals.
You took not the Eagles to lose to the Cardinals, the Lions to lose to the Cardinals.
Oh, yep.
Eagles play the Saints.
I took the Saints.
You took the Saints.
Yeah.
And who do the Vikings play? Because you took the Vikings as well.
Took the Vikings over Houston.
Yep.
Oh, I'm just all about that upset week 3.
Yeah, you are.
That's what it boils down to. Because San Francisco should win. Houston should win. Eagles should win. Yeah. It's going to be a fun week of football.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be a good week of football. I'm excited. And it feels like it's too far away.
It's just around the corner.
Thursday's almost here.
Well, let's get to it.
Yeah.
I got nothing else to talk about. We're going to wrap it up for week 3. Thanks for checking out our overtime episode. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. We're doing giveaways. If you've hung around this long, you better be subscribed to the channel. It'd be a Donald Trump felony if you were not subscribed to this channel. And on that note, we'll see you next week on Portland Packers Podcast. We'll see you on the internet.